talk about this afternoon briefly is just what's been happening in government over the last 8 years in terms of working more collaboratively, looking at how we share best practice, how we standardise processes. So I thought I'd take you on a sort of journey of the last 8 years and then talk about the role that I've been doing for the last 4 years. So, for those who know the civil service, and Sheila was in the civil service at one stage, we worked together at DEFRA. The civil service is a federacy. There's 20 plus departments, 40 plus agencies, or there was in 2007, and they all had their own HR strategies, their own HR policies, their own processes, and their own products. And that translated into recruitment as well. So every department had its own recruitment policies, its own recruitment processes. It recruited people in different ways. It didn't trust other government departments' processes. And some processes were known as being easy to get promoted and some weren't. 2009, 2011, there was a huge political change in the civil service. And HR decided to control its own destiny. So rather than have somebody do something to us, there were a number of HRDs at the time. Chris Last was head of HR for the civil service, and we decided to control our own destiny. We made proposals that we would save 50% of our budgets, 50% of our workforce, and we'd work towards a 1 to 100 ratio of HR people to headcount in the business. And a programme called Next Generation HR started, which I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with. Next Generation HR realised the 50% budget savings and the 50% savings in headcount. Every department and agency still had its own HR function, but certain functions were actually taken out across government. And we set up 3 big shared services, or they weren't shared services, they were expert services. It was where all the volume activity was actually happening. And those were civil service learning, civil service resourcing, and civil service employee policy. And the remit was to provide a service across government to 450,000 people, and to ensure that the services were more professional, more consistent, more standardised. We were realising efficiencies and we were more effective. Because what you saw in government at that time was big departments like DWP had huge headcounts in HR and big budgets. And where we were in DEFRA, it was a much smaller version, so the individual got a very different experience. And that translated to things like the fast stream, where people are recruited into government to be part of the fast stream, but depending on the department they went into, they got a very different experience. What we did is, for the first time, we put an evaluation framework in place. We didn't have that in government before, so we were able to evaluate across government how effective our learning and development and whether we were offering value for money. So some of the key facts of civil service learning between 2014-15. There were about 4.9 million sessions completed on our website, learning sessions. About 100,000 attended face-to-face courses. 962 e-learning products were accessed, and about 669 were completed. The difference between accessing and completing is people don't go through to the end, so it doesn't register that they've actually completed it. And about 750,000 of learning resources were downloaded from our portal. So whilst there were great successes in terms of standardising learning and development across government, our sister organisations, Civil Service Resourcing and Employee Policy, did the same in those areas. There were still lots of challenges, and some of these are the challenges that we experienced in the civil service around learning and development,